morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is the English Bulletin with me, Anustha Acharya. The top stories first. Election Commissioner urges leaders not to create confusion about polls. EC says it is keeping a close watch on election code violation. 689 climbers acquired permits for climbing various peaks this season. Government collects royalties of Rs 373 million from climbers. Public transport fares increased in Bagmati province. The fare will be revised if the fuel prices adjust more than 5%. Death toll from floods in South Africa rises to 341. Rescuers battle to deliver supplies to survivors. And Barcelona crashed out of Europa League. The Spanish club fails to cope with Frankfurt's counter-attacks. And now the news in detail. The Election Commission has urged politicians and stakeholders not to make any statement what would create confusions about the election. During a regular press meet on Thursday, Election Commission spokesperson Saligram Sharma Paudel said that the Commission's attention has been drawn to the remarks coming from leaders and cadres of the political parties, raising confusions about the election at a time when the preparations for the poll had reached the final stage. He said that the EC was keeping eyes on violation of election code of conduct and has been inquiring for necessary action against those involved. Meanwhile, the EC said as much as 7 million ballot papers have been printed for 39 districts for the upcoming local level election. Spokesperson Sharma said some 800,000 ballot papers are being printed on a daily basis. The Election Commission said it received applications from 65 different organizations for monitoring the election. According to a commission, a total of 20,467 individuals will be monitoring the upcoming election scheduled for May 13. The EC has started publication of local level election e-bulletin from Thursday to disseminate information about the entire activities of the local election. Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba has said that the government has given high priority to the issue of land management. A report.
Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba has called for making land registration and records fair, automated and transparent. Prime Minister Deuba made such remarks during a program organized by the Ministry of Land Management, Cooperatives and Poverty Alleviation on the occasion of 100 years of systematic documentation and registration of land in the country. The complaints on land administration should be addressed on time, he directed the subordinate bodies. Prime Minister Deuba was in favor of promoting good governance in land administration service by ensuring quality survey and credible management of data. Prime Minister Deuba added that records of land and security of historic archives should be prioritized. Prime Minister Deuba expressed happiness over the online system of land transaction and access to personal data relating to land developed by the ministry. He also suggested other government bodies to promote such practices. The written records or the registration of land plots and houses had begun exactly 100 years ago in Nepal since the 1st of Baishakh 1979 BS. Prime Minister Deuba further reminded that the government was providing lands to the poor Dalits in a bid to assure social justice and equality guaranteed by the Constitution of Nepal. Similarly, the Constitution has ensured such rights to landless squatters, freed haliyas and kamayas. Prime Minister Deuba expressed concerns that arable lands were left unused on the one hand and agricultural production was dwindling on the other, contributing to widening trade loss and food insecurity. Haphazard use of land was worsened the impacts of climate change, said Deuba, adding the unchecked plotting of agricultural land has caused haphazard urbanization and settlements are facing risk. The Prime Minister also expressed concern over encroachment of public and lands belonging to Guthi Trust. During the occasion, Prime Minister Deuba shared that the National Land Commission was formed by the government to resolve the problems faced by the landless squatters, landless Dalit and unmanaged settlements.
A total of 84 mountaineering teams have obtained permits to climb mountains and peaks in Nepal for the spring season. These expedition teams have 689 members. According to a state-owned national news agency RSS, the government collected royalties of over Rs 373 million as of April 13 by issuing the permits, a report.
The expedition teams obtaining permissions for scaling 19 peaks, including Mount Everest, comprise people from 65 different countries, including Nepal. Among them, 250 climbers, including 194 males and 56 females from 45 countries, will be attempting to scale the world's highest peak. The government has collected royalties worth over Rs 310 million alone from permits issued to the climbers to scale Mount Everest. The Department of Tourism is hopeful that the expedition teams will climb mountains this year as the threat from COVID-19 has declined significantly and the climate is favorable for climbing. It may be noted that 45 expedition teams had climbed mountains in the spring of 2021 amid threat of COVID-19, giving a big boost to the tourism industry battered by the pandemic. Tourism entrepreneurs say they are somehow optimistic about the good indicators seen in the tourism sector with a decline in COVID-19 cases. Both Nepali and foreign climbers are continuously setting out for this season expedition to scale Mount Everest after taking the permit. So far, 250 climbers belonging to 31 expedition teams have alone acquired permission for climbing Mount Everest. Similarly, 64 climbers of 9 expedition teams have acquired permission to climb Mount Lhotse, 65 climbers from 6 teams have taken permission to climbing Mount Amadavalam, and 38 mountaineers of 5 expedition teams have got permission to climb Mount Kanchenjunga.
This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. After the break, we continue with other national news. The government yesterday confirmed 3 new cases of COVID-19 across the country. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, the number of active cases of COVID-19 has dropped to 592 after 44 people recovered from the disease. So far, a total of 978,634 people have tested positive in the virus in Nepal, while 965,847 people have already recovered. No new death from the virus was reported yesterday. The death toll from the virus remains constant at 11,951. Nepal is currently among top 61 countries affected by coronavirus. USA tops the list with 82.25 million cases, followed by India with 43.03 confirmed cases. The virus has infected more than 502.83 million people worldwide and has claimed over 6.21 million lives. Chairman of Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, Rajendra Lingden, has accused the big political parties of pushing the country towards the path of a failed nation. Speaking at a program organized at the party's central office in Thumbarai on Thursday, Chairman Lingden said that the country's major political parties and leaders are trying to make the country a failed state. He said that the big parties are complementing each other in making the country a failed state. He also said that the RPP is working to prevent the country from becoming a failed state.
खास गरी ठुला राजनीतिक पार्टीहरूले र ठुलो नेता हुँ भन्नेहरूले पहल गर्नुपर्थ्यो, प्रयास गर्नुपर्थ्यो, तर देशलाई असफल राष्ट्रको बाटोतर्फ धकेल्नमा तिनै ठुला पार्टी हुँ भन्नेहरू र तिनै ठुला नेता हुँ भन्नेहरू नै संलग्न भएर उनीहरू नै यसको जिम्मेवार मान्छे र जिम्मेवार पार्टीको रूपमा देखा पर्न थाले। देशलाई असफल राष्ट्र बनाउने काममा उनीहरू एक अर्काको सहयोगी जस्तो बन्न थाले।
He said that those who have politicals and those who love the country are involved in RPP. Lingden added that anti-corruption activists are joining his party.
कांग्रेस, एमाले, माओवादीहरू एउटा किताबमा छन्। राजनीतिलाई पेशा व्यवसाय मान्ने, राजनीतिलाई ओड्ने, ओछ्याउने, भान्सा टोयलेटको रूपमा उपयोग गर्न चाहनेहरू त्यतापट्टि छन्। देशलाई माया गर्नेहरू, भ्रष्टाचार गरेर खानु, आमाको रगत खानु सर ठान्नेहरू अब हाम्रो किताबमा बिस्तारै जोडिँदैछ।
Chairman Ling then made such remarks during a function organized to welcome various individuals in the party. According to RPP spokesperson Mohan Shrestha, 1,029 people including Ramprasad Upreti, social activist Jwala Sangraula and Jita Baral, former DIC Mandip Shrestha and Nepali Congress General Convention member Rohan Rao Chetri have joined the party. The newly appointed chairman of the Federation of Nepalese National Transport Entrepreneurs Association suggested the government to form a transportation authority to resolve the issues prevalent in the public transportation sector. Chairman Swar stressed on immediate formation of the transportation authority by the government to address the entire affair in transportation sector. He said that the new leadership of the Federation will pressurize the government to form a transportation authority and will put an all-out effort on reviving the transportation sector back to life. He added that the public transportation sector has investment of more than rupees 10 billion and therefore of the investors, government, transportation workers and public should join hand for safeguarding the investment.
निजी क्षेत्रको लगानी त सस्टेन त हुनु पर्यो, दिगो त हुनु पर्यो। लगानी अनुसारको मुनाफा हुन्छ र यो देशमा सबैभन्दा एउटा व्यापार उद्योग गरेर सबैभन्दा कम मुनाफा पाउने भनेको यातायात व्यवसायले हो। जम्मा सरकारले हामीलाई भाडामा 10% मात्र चाहिँ हामीलाई मुनाफा दिएको छ। हाम्रो ठुलो यसमा चाहिँ हामी अन्यायमा परेका छौँ भनेर बारम्बार भनेको छौँ। त्यसलाई वैज्ञानिक आधारमा चाहिँ कसरी अब सार्वजनिक यातायातलाई चाहिँ समुद्रसँग लान सकिन्छ, पब्लिक ओरिएन्टेड कसरी बनाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा चाहिँ त्यो हो।
Similarly, Chairman Swar said that the entire public transportation is run by private sector, but the transportation entrepreneurs are making less profit despite such huge investment.
हामी बसेर के गरौँ भन्दा अपराधीकरण गठौँ, यसलाई ढिलो नगरौँ। अब यो मैले अहिले भने आइसियुमा बसिएको छ, यसलाई चाहिँ भेन्टिलेटरबाट निकाल्ने काम चाहिँ गरौँ, एउटा पुनर्जागृत गर्ने काम गरौँ। त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ निजी क्षेत्रको रूपमा सरकारको सही हातको रूपमा हामी अगाडि बढ्न चाहन्छौँ। स्टेट भयो, हामी भयो, चाहिँ मजदुर भयो, उपभोक्ता भयो, सबै मिलेर चाहिँ यसलाई कसरी बचाउने, यो राष्ट्रिय पुँजी नेपालीको राष्ट्रिय पुँजी 10 खरबलाई कसरी बचाउने।
Chairman Swar requested the government to create a one-door policy to resolve issues such as scientific adjustment of transportation fare, accidents and transportation syndicate. And now the news from economic front. The public transportation fare has been increased in Bagmati province, including the Kathmandu Valley. The Transport Ministry of Bagmati province hiked the fare for taxi and public transportation effective from yesterday. Public transportation fare has been raised by Rs 2 for up to 10 kilometers and Rs 3 for more than 10 kilometers. The new fare for up to 5 kilometers is Rs 20, for up to 10 kilometers is Rs 25, for up to 15 kilometers Rs 30, for up to 20 kilometers is Rs 33 and more than 20 kilometers Rs 38. Similarly, the taxi fare has been increased to Rs 10 per 200 meters or Rs 50 per kilometer while waiting charge is Rs 1.20. Waiting has been limited to maximum 30 minutes. The ministry has also stated that the transportation fare within the province will again be adjusted accordingly if the price of fuel were to rise or fall by more than 5% from the rate on which the latest fare adjustment has been made. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back. Now the international news. The death toll from South Africa's unprecedented floods climbed to 341 on Thursday as helicopters fanned out across the southeastern city of Durban in an increasingly desperate search for survivors. With roads and bridges washed away by rainfall this week, rescuers battle to deliver supplies across the city where some residents have been without power or water since Monday. The level of devastation of human life, infrastructures and service delivery network in the province is unprecedented, said Sihel Jikala, Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. A total number of 40,723 people have been affected. Sadly, 349 fatalities have been recorded. At a small airport north of Durban, helicopters carried rescuers in and out. The air support was pulled not only from the military and police, but also a fleet of volunteers, private contractors and schools. But after the rains finally subsided, fewer survivors were being found, said Travis Strower, a director for the volunteer-run organization Rescue South Africa. The government has given no indication of how many people are missing. Jikala predicted the bill for damage will run into billions of rand, as reported by Al Jazeera. One of the Russian President Vladimir Putin's close allies warned NATO on Thursday that if Sweden and Finland join the US-led military alliance, then Russia would deploy nuclear weapons and hypersonic missiles in the heart of Europe. Finland, which shares a 1,300-kilometer borders with Russia, and Sweden are considering joining the NATO alliance. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, said that should Sweden and Finland join NATO, then Russia would have to strengthen its land, naval and air forces in the Baltic Sea. Medvedev said he hoped Finland and Sweden would see sense. If not, he said they would have to live with nuclear weapons and hypersonic missiles close to home. There was no immediate comment from NATO on Russia's warning. Still, the possible accession of Finland and Sweden into NATO, found in 1949 to provide Western security against the Soviet Union, would be one of the biggest strategic consequences of the war in Ukraine. Moscow's military action in Ukraine have sparked a dramatic U-turn in public and political opinion in both Finland and Sweden about long-held policies of military non-alignment. Finland said this week it will decide whether to apply for NATO membership within weeks, and Sweden is also discussing membership, as reported by Al Jazeera. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Eintracht Frankfurt stunned Barcelona with a dramatic victory at the Nou Camp to set up a Europa League semi-final against West Ham. After the first leg had finished 1-1, the German side stormed into a 3-0 lead in the second and looked in control before two late goals for Barcelona. Philip Kostic's penalty and Rafael Borré's superb strike were followed by another for Kostic after the break, but Sergio Busquets' effort and Memphis Depay's penalty set up a tense finish. Frankfurt defender Ivan Nidika was also sent off for a second yellow card for what looked a soft fall of Luke de Jong for a spot kick, with 9 minutes added on following a VAR malfunction. But Frankfurt, who sit 9th in the Bundesliga and won this competition in its previous years in 1980, saw out a memorable victory to the delight of their almost 30,000 travelling fans. Barcelona, on a superb run since the arrival of Xavi, did not know how to cope with the Bundesliga outfits, clinical counter-attacks, and Frankfurt could have had more. Rupandehi 11 and Malaysia 11 have reached the final of the Pro Cup Championship underway in Bhairava. A report.
Rupandehi secured a place in the final on Thursday after defeating Tribhuvan Army Club by 6 wickets. It may be noted that the Army team has majority of players from the national team. The first semi-final match between Malaysia and Uttar Pradesh was reduced to 5 overs each. Malaysia, which opted to bat first at the Siddhartha Stadium after winning the toss, made 44 runs in 5 overs, losing 3 wickets. Malaysia's opener Said Aziz scored 23 runs off 13 balls, including 4 boundaries. Likewise, Birandeep Singh contributed 20 runs off 14 balls. UP's Raj Yadav took all 3 wickets, giving away 2 runs in his 1-over spell. Chasing a target of 45 runs for victory, UP managed to score only 30 runs in 5 overs, losing 4 wickets. Subham Chowdhury top scored 11 runs of UP. Malaysia's Pirendradeep Singh took 2 wickets, giving away 3 runs. In the second semi-final, Army were all out of 103 runs in 19.4 overs. Army's Rohit Paudel scored 36 runs of 40 balls that included 4 boundaries. Likewise, Hari Chauhan contributed 14 runs, Rajesh Pulami 13, Vinod Bhandari was dug out while Sompal Kami scored 6 and Kusal Malla was run out of 1 run. Rupandehi's Wasir Ahmad and Rupesh Kurmi took 2 wickets each while Krishna Karki and Bikram Bhusal bagged a wicket each. Chasing a target of 104 runs for victory, Rupandehi made the goal in 17.3 overs. Wasir Ahmad top scored 45 runs off 35 balls. His innings included 4 boundaries and 2 sixes. Army's Bikram Soap took 3 wickets, giving away 8 runs in his 3 over. The final will be held on Saturday. Rupandehi had defeated Malaysia by 6 wickets in the group stage.
We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. Election Commission urges leaders not to create confusion about the polls. EC says it is keeping a close watch on election code violation. 689 climbers acquire permits for climbing various peaks this season. Government collects royalties of Rs 373 million from climbers. Public transport fare increased in Bagmati province. The fare will be revised if the fuel price is adjusted more than 5%. Death toll from floods in South Africa rises to 341. Rescuers battle to deliver supplies to survivors. And Barcelona crashed out of Europa League. The Spanish club fails to cope with Frankfurt's counter-attacks. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.